G'day and welcome to Aussievision. Today we'll be discussing what we think the jury and televote appeal might be for one of the big entries this year. We're going to be talking about France, and I'm just so happy to have our fluent French speaker here, Steve, so I might get you to introduce our artist and our song.
For France, we have Barbara Pravi and Voilà.
Yeah. And as we are recording this, I will say France is currently second favourite going into the competition. So one of the real big hitters here. Now, just to explain for those watching, we will be judging the jury and televote appeal in our humble opinions, and we'll be rating them out of 10. So without further ado, let's kick into this one. We'll talk about jury appeal for France this year, and I will get your scores, if I could please, in 3, 2, 1. Oh, okay. We've got some pretty high scores. We do have an outlier. So, of course, well, let's start with our outlier there. Liv, 7.5 for France.
Yeah, just historically, sometimes the ultra French kind of entries can rub juries up the wrong way. So I'm just kind of taking that into account. It probably is on the lower side of things. France can struggle a bit, but the song isn't the most modern entry, and it is sort of a time gone by, and they can be a bit hit and miss. So I am being a bit conservative with my opinion on that one.
Oh, fair call, fair call. Now we did have our next one. Was it a 9.5? Was that from you, Steve? Excellent. Talk us through that. 9.5, big score.
Yeah, I mean, I can't see much wrong with this in terms of the jury score. It's jury bait for me. Simple staging, great vocalist. We've seen her perform live multiple times. We know she can nail the vocal. She can emote. I'd be surprised if this didn't do really well with the juries. Yes, it's in French, but I think it's in accessible, simple French. It's not very wordy. Everybody can say voila. I think this works.
Yeah, fair enough. I kind of agree with you there. And Kyriakos, it was a big 10 from you, was it? 10, the perfect score.
Perfect score from me. And I have to agree with all the points that Steve made. He's pretty much got my point, all my points there. To me, it just ticks all the boxes. If she delivers anything like she did in the French national final, where she had some very simple staging, but bloody effective overall as a package, I think she'll do really well. And she'll be rewarded by the juries.
Yeah, look, I'm going to concur with pretty much everything there. And also with you, Liv, there may be a little bit of a trap here that, it is a little bit dated. And we've seen commercial songs tend to be really rewarded for juries in the last few years. This probably isn't on so much the commercial side. And again, we did see her in that national final, and so we can pretty much know what's going to be delivered. I can't imagine they'll be tinkering too much with that staging. So, yeah, look, I personally gave it a 9. I think this is going to be very, very much at the pointy end of the scoreboard come the end of that jury vote. All right, let's talk about the other side of things, the televote. What do we think televote-wise we could be looking at here for Barbara? And I will get your scores in 3, 2, 1. Okay, a little bit lower on the televote there. All right, so let's start with our lowest rated there. Kyriakos, so you think it might be a hit with the juries, not so much with the public?
Yeah, I think the public would appreciate the entry as the overall package. I'm just not sure how they will take maybe the overall Frenchness of it, maybe possibly. Lots of talk about, there shouldn't be any Eiffel Towers, but I feel like this is the perfect entry to have a nice Eiffel Tower on the stage. There probably wouldn't be one. But yeah, I do think it'll get some jury love. Televote love for sure.
Okay, excellent. Now, our second lowest rated, was that you, Liv, or was, yes?
Yeah, I had a 7.5.
7.5.
Same score. Essentially, very similar to Kiri in that there will be people who really will appreciate this, I think, and will love it. But it can be a little bit too gritty and French, I think, potentially for some people. It's going to be great, but I can't see it being in that upper echelon of televote.
Yeah, no, look, I kind of agree with you. We even saw in the national final, there was some people that just didn't connect with it at all. And Steve, yes, what was your vote on the televote?
Is an 8.
An
I'm
8, yeah.
hoping it's going to be like a Salvador moment. So I'm hoping that it was incredibly simple staging for Salvador, very simple and kind of timeless song. And I'm hoping that people see Barbara Pravi's Voila in the same way. I'm hoping that, especially if she can emote as well as we know that she has the capacity to, I think that might touch viewers watching, and especially watching for the first time. So the one-time viewers, the people who watch once a year, who tune in on that night to see her. I hope and kind of feel it could work.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you. I think for the once a year people, a lot of them are really going to connect with this. I mean, you know this is France. I also gave it an 8, and again, I'll concur with a lot of those points. Again, I'll go back to that national final kind of performance. They've pretty much got a ready-made performance ready to go. We've seen her perform it. It was quite stunning. I wouldn't put them past some tweaking here and there, but apart from that, I can't imagine wholesale changes. Why would you? So yeah, it's going to be maybe up towards the top of the televote, but maybe not right at the pointy end. Some real eye catchers out there. All right, so they were our scores for France, and they'll be coming up on the screen as we speak. Now I'm going to go to you guys. How do we think this is going to go on the night? I might start with you there, Liv. Where do you think France will be finishing up on the Saturday night?
Yeah, I'm thinking in that 5th to 10th place pocket, with the lowest being sort of midfield, 13th, 12th. Something.
Oh, even dropping down as far as 13th to 12th. Because just because it's a bit perhaps seen as maybe a little old-fashioned, is that reason?
Yeah, honestly, like it is. Look, it's got a lot going for it, but I mean, we're landsliding it, and I don't know. I have a lot of question marks about. I mean, I've sort of seen this before, right? I mean, it's nothing that I sort of haven't seen in this genre. It's not doing anything special. Her performance is special, but I just have question marks as to whether people will be like, oh, yeah, I saw this in a movie like 50 years ago, whatever.
Fair enough. All right, let's go to Kyriakos on this one. How do you think Barbara's going to fare in the final?
Definite top 3. Okay, I may have given it the lowest televote score in this group, but I actually think she could even win the whole thing as well. I've got it with Malta's, Destiny for Malta, possibly them two being the biggest contestant, biggest acts to take out the whole Eurovision 2021. And I think just work as an overall package just looks like a Eurovision winning song.
Okay, you're there with the bookies, giving her a fair chance of taking this one out. And Steve, will end with you on this one. How do you think Barbara's going to go?
I think it's a top 5 song. I think it's going to be France's best result in years. She's going to top Amir's 6th place. I think it will all depend on the performance on the night. I think she could be. She's one of my dark horses. I don't necessarily think she's going to win. I'd love her to win personally, but I think she's a dark horse. She occupies that kind of 4, 5, 6 place for me.
Okay. Well, I'm going to say I'm a little more positive on this one. I really do think she's pretty much a nailed on top 3 here. I expect her to be pretty much towards the top of the jury score. It will depend, of course, on running order and final presentation. Perhaps if she's towards the start of the show, we might not see a storming televote for that one. But apart from that, I think all the elements are there for, and I agree with you on this one, Steve, France's best result in years on this one. But we'll see, I guess. And she's definitely a contender, though, I think. All right. Thanks so much for joining us, guys. And we will see you again soon.